Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is a stop-motion animated story behind the story of Pinocchio. This one directed by Guillermo del Toro. And you all know the story of Pinocchio. There's this man named Geppetto. He builds this little boy out of wood, turns him into a puppet, but he wants the puppet to be real, so he wishes on a star for the boy to be real, brings the puppet to life, and now he's gonna go on these tests and trials to become a real boy. This was a movie that I was low-key very much anticipating for a while now. The story of Pinocchio always seemed like the perfect movie for Guillermo del Toro to direct. The story and the world in Pinocchio, it's very dark, it's very weird at times, it's unusual, but it has a lot of heart at its core, and it's a really great story. It's timeless. So I really felt Guillermo del Toro would give us the interpretation that we all were hoping for the whole time. I was especially interested in seeing a stop-motion animated version of Pinocchio because we just don't get those anymore. And also, I still needed something to help me recover from, the live-action Disney attempt at Pinocchio that really sucked. And thank goodness this movie is miles better than the Pinocchio live-action adaptation we got earlier this year. This is the Pinocchio story we deserve, 100%. First of all, I think the voice acting across the board is fantastic. The kid actor who voices Pinocchio, I don't know his name. I don't think he's a big-name actor, or at least a big-name kid actor, but he does a really good job. His voice, I felt, really captured the innocence that Pinocchio is supposed to exhibit. I completely bought into that. But not just him. You have David Bradley as the voice of Geppetto. You have Ewan McGregor as the voice of the cricket. Christoph Waltz as the voice of this character that's supposed to be like this splice between the fox that cons Pinocchio and this, Ringmaster Stromboli who ultimately puts him on for show. It's great to see Christoph Waltz back in a movie again. I feel like I haven't seen him in anything in forever, and it's nice to see him back in that antagonist role. He really thrives in that. I just look at the voice acting across the board, and I felt every actor brought their character to life with their voice flawlessly. Also, I really loved this movie with stop-motion animation. That's just something, we don't see that nowadays, and I think the reason ultimately that we don't is not because it's out of style, but because it's so hard to do. Stop motion animation, that's not easy. It takes a very long time to pose everything correctly, to get like a few seconds of footage. That's why to make these feature-length movies, it takes a lot. It takes a long freaking time. So you can tell with this movie, you can see the passion and the drive and how badly Guillermo del Toro wanted to make this movie and wanted it to work. Also, this movie is a musical, kind of undeniably so. You just know there's going to be some musical numbers in there, but none of it is cheesy or over the top. None of it feels like the way Disney sometimes does it, how they really need to completely sell you on the music and sell you on the scene and how it plays into the story. Every song that plays in this movie, it's either just long enough or it makes perfect sense for the scene that we are being given. Also, I really loved the portrayal of all the characters in this movie. I love seeing in Pinocchio. He's this young, naive boy. But what I like seeing with him is he kind of acts like this really little kid. He's disobedient. He doesn't know what the world is. He's very naive. He kind of has a little bit of that rebellious toddler kind of attitude. It's like, no, I want to do it this way. He kind of comes off as a little brat sometimes, and I liked seeing that. It humanized Pinocchio a little bit more. Geppetto himself is awesome in this movie. He wants this chance to be the father to Pinocchio. He wants to set Pinocchio up for the right path, and he wants to create this family with the two of them. But, he's an older man. He's been through it all. He's been through enough, and, him basically having to reteach life to something is not something that he feels like he's really cut out to do. And that's what I love seeing with the cricket in this movie. He has to be, Pinocchio's conscience. He has to guide him. He has to help him through life. He basically has to help Geppetto raise this thing. But he's struggling with it. He's not entirely sure what to do. This isn't exactly what he signed up for either. I also liked that they really used the cricket for a lot of the slapstick humor that's in this movie, but never to a point where it became dumb or excessive. It works. And the other thing I want to touch on, this was the biggest issue that I had with the live-action Pinocchio. It really steered away from the source's dark material. This movie is not afraid to do that. Now, there are obviously various, interpretations of the story of Pinocchio. We've gotten different things here and there. Some stuff is in the story, some stuff isn't. They tweak stuff a little bit. This movie, takes on, you could say, a creative license, or maybe they leave some stuff out. But what I appreciate is the movie never ignores the darkness that is in the Pinocchio story, that's in some of these characters. There are moments in this movie that are really intense, that are really sad, that are really, in some ways, kind of tough to grasp. Not really grasp, they hit you. I don't think any of it as emotionally scarring as the Pleasure Island scene you get in the Disney animated version, but some of it does leave you like, oh, whoa, they just went there. It was unapologetically dark when it needed to be, and I appreciate that. But never to a point where you feel like it would be uncomfortable to show your kids this. This is, to its core, a family movie, and it's a really fucking good one. It has just the right level of humor, and the kind of humor that everyone would enjoy and appreciate, but to its core, this movie has an absurd level of heart. From the beginning, throughout the movie until the very end, there will be constant moments where it's gonna hit you like a ton of bricks, and you will probably get emotional. You might cry a little, you might cry a lot, you might just tear up, but you're gonna feel something. Because the movie just does an amazing job of not just getting you invested with Pinocchio, but getting you invested with so many characters, even the kind that you didn't really think you would. I really appreciate that. This movie throws a lot of lessons in family in this movie, and that's why I think it would be really good for families to see all together. So all in all, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, this was the Pinocchio movie we deserve. The voice acting across the board is fantastic. I love how each voice brought each character to life. I really loved all the characters we got in this movie for the roles they had to play for it. The animation is fantastic in this movie. I love seeing stop motion back. I feel like we haven't seen that in a long time, so they're not anything memorable. The music is great, both the songs and the score. It all just slays. The movie knows when to be funny, it knows when to be emotional, it really hits the nail on the head when it's telling the story and the moral behind family. In the end, as far as animations go, this is easily the best one I've seen this year. Like, it ain't close. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video, and as always, don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.